Hey guys, so we are back again for the weekly Fix and Flip. I'm here with Sevon and we are both with Remax, and we are here giving you another tour of a fixer property here in LA County. So this week we're of course going to give you a great walkthrough of the home that we're looking at, but we're also going to highlight a few key things to look at, particularly around the roof and things you may not know to look for.
These are all original hardwood floors, it looks like, probably white oak. And even though there's spots that looks like they've been sanded, the entire floor can be resanded and done properly, and I think it would still look pretty good.
And how much do you think that costs to refinish the floors?
They're usually around $5 to $7 a square foot.
Okay.
Depends. You know, if there's repairs that need to be done here and there, you know, that sort of thing.
Okay.
There's a little bit of a slope here, or a reverse slope, so that would be something to look for underneath the house to see if there's any damage or if it's just settling or movement. You know, settling and movement is okay. Damage you want to fix and, you know, put up back where it belongs. So.
Okay.
So this would be a complete gutter again. Tile floors would come out, the walls, you know, would be redone or replastered in some way. The windows, of course, would have to be redone. These are all steel windows from the 50s, so poor insulating. Probably you'll see even condensation when it's cold outside, and you know, not very good. Very good conductor of heat, not a very good insulator. This is a nice cross-buck door. Unfortunately, on an outswing door, you're not allowed to have a step like this. It's got to be a flush door. So this would either have to be converted to an in-swing or raised up here from the landing pad to be more even with the floor.
That's a great point. You'd never know something like that.
There's some pretty good sized damage up here. Pretty rotted out. Probably not a structural issue. Something that can just be remedied right here or eliminated even. It's just to cover the top of the door.
Okay.
But definitely needs to be replaced or removed. So here's a good indicator here of some damaged wood. If you can see the tunnels and sort of the pockets there, that's termites. They're not necessarily active, but at some point they were here, and obviously they've eaten up quite a bit of the wood. So there's a good chance there's damage in the wall as well. But that's the kind of tracks they leave, and that's the evidence that is, you know, apparent to be termite damage. Usually when you order a termite inspection, if there's a crawl space in the house, if there's access underneath the house, that's where the inspector goes, and he basically does a visual inspection to see if there's any damage like this here on the corner window, or he will also, you know, poke and probe at different spots to see if there's any soft wood or even droppings, termite droppings, you can also tell. So that requires a physical inspection around the whole perimeter, underneath the house, you know, the subfloor and so on.
And typically, how much is your termite inspection?
They run anywhere, depending on the size of the house. I mean, I've seen anywhere from like a couple $100 to maybe $500.
Okay.
The problem with the stucco walls here is that you don't see what's going on inside. On the inside, you've got the plaster. On the outside, you've got stucco. So the wood inside in between is not accessible. So really you're relying on what you see underneath, and hopefully it'll give you a good preview of what's going on. So here's a original electrical panel, and you can see here that there's a 100 amp service, which is probably original to the house, which was sufficient back then, but today's standard is a 200 amp service. So that would require a whole new panel and a whole new service to the panel. You know, you're looking at like $7,000 to $10,000 depending on, you know, what kind of setup you're going to have. So this is a very old minimum system that probably won't work with today's appliances and things like that. So here you can see that there's vents at the bottom of the house, and those are vents to the crawl space area. That's one way you could tell that the foundation is raised up, and there's a gap there in between the earth and the subfloor of the first floor. So that would allow you to actually access that area to look at it. So up here we have the underside of this roof for this carport that we're standing under. You can see here that the original skip sheathing that's going horizontally is still there, but they've added new plywood to it at some point and then shingled on top of that. So that means it's been redone at some point. It doesn't mean that it's in good condition, but it still needs to be inspected to determine that. Hopefully the rest of the house has been redone as well at some point, but we'll have to see that too. So looking at this property from the outside, you can see the house really hasn't been touched in recently, and it's just in the original shape, but the driveway is brand new. And so that tells me that there was possibly like a sewer issue where they had to redo the pipe under the ground, and at that point they just repaved the driveway. It goes all the way to the back of the house, so that's a pretty likely indicator there.